How's it going, everybody? This is Rob of Novakast back with another video, and oh boy, this is going to be interesting, because this video, or this review, as well as the next couple of reviews, are going to be kind of intertwined in some sense. Now, I'm going to say, kind of to start this off, because I've been kind of curious about something, and that being when it comes down to the Spider-Man films, or at least the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. I remember when I was younger, I really enjoyed them, except for 3. And all this time, like, I think it's been years since I've actually watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. So recently I found out that on Vudu, they had a 5 movie pack where you have Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and 2.1 or 2.2, which is basically like a edited version of Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3 with Spider-Man 3's editor edition, which, oh boy, I'm gonna be talking about the differences with those two, by the way. So with that, the next couple of videos will be about the Sam Raimi movies, what my initial thoughts are, and yeah, just so you guys know, just as a disclaimer, all this is opinion based. I know some people are really huge fans of Spider-Man, or at least the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. So without further delay, why don't we go ahead and get started? Now, I guess if anything though, mention that the movie itself was released around 2002, directed by, obviously, Sam Raimi, written by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and many others, starring Tobey Maguire, Christian Dunst, William Dafoe, and many others. Now, this was, I'm going to say this, like, watching it again after all these years, it kind of, for some reason, my good thoughts on it, as I've, I guess, kind of become more critical about shit, my opinions of it have changed since I was younger, because I thought this movie was really good, but as time has progressed and I've kind of gotten a chance to revisit this movie, it's interesting. In fact, if anything, I would say it's so corny and bad half the time, it's almost enjoyable. It's kind of like, I guess the best way to put it, if for those who have for those who have watched, I guess if anything, Dungeons and Dragons, which, by the way, it was a film that was released a year before Lord of the Rings. This movie is so bad, so campy, it is almost laughable. In fact, another good example is how a lot of people find, The Room to be really bad. I did not hit her, oh hi Ma. Yeah, that movie. It's so bad that people find it enjoyable. So when it comes down to it, Spider-Man is one of those things, and it sucks too, especially since this was around the time period where writers, or at least when it comes down to movies, could not write a good script for comic book movies, which really sucks. But that's how it was around that time, because it was like, either we make it too serious, or rather we make it too campy. And sure enough, that's what we kind of got with most of the degree of Spider-Man. Sure, there are the emotional scenes, but I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like there's more campy, like, ridiculous stuff than there is the emotional. And even some of the emotional scenes seem ridiculous half the time. I will say Tobey Maguire, as Peter Parker, as kind of starting up from high school, going on to, showing him, how he becomes Spider-Man was to some extent interesting. And to some extent, I kind of saw Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. This variation, anyway. You have the kind of nerdy, awkward guy who gets powers, and first thing, which I have a feeling almost any nerd that would get powers would probably do the same thing, where they kind of like, for maybe a brief second, if we're lucky, will be like kind of headstrong and kind of brash with their abilities, which we see again with Spider-Man, which is the basic storyline for Spider-Man when it comes to the whole Uncle Ben thing. But all in all, Tobey Maguire did all right in this. Then we had Kristen Dunst, who, I'm not going to lie, does jack shit in this. Last time I checked, and by the way, I don't read a lot of comics. I did a little bit more research with trying to know this. I know of the MJ character, but I did a little bit of digging before doing this review. And yeah, Kristen Dunst's Mary Jane does jack shit. Like, if anything, she reminds me of the reporter character, or the photographer from Batman, the Tim Burton one, where it's nothing but screaming when she's in danger. That's it. Just the damsel in distress, which kind of sucks, because apparently there is a lot more to the character than just, oh, save me. William Dafoe, I will say, did a awesome freaking Norman Osborn and Green Goblin. I absolutely enjoyed him, especially with William Dafoe, like almost channeling a variety of Jim Carrey when it comes to his facial expressions. This really crooked smile and the wide eyes was really great. I love that. I thought it just showed the craziness of his character. James Franco, I kind of felt was underutilized. If anything, kind of like one note, which it sucks because he becomes more like that in the sequel, which is sad, but whatever. And we had a lot of other great actors too. Cliff Robertson playing Ben, or Uncle Ben. Rosemary Harris playing May, or Aunt May. Both really great in their roles. As well as some of the side characters that we see. Interesting. Also, by the way, I need to talk about J.K. Simmons playing... I know a lot of other people talk about it, but J.K. Simmons does an awesome J. Jonah Jameson. And as much, if you guys have watched my my Let's Plays of Marvel Spider-Man, you guys know I'm shitting on Jameson all the time as this overzealous freaking just over the top dude who clearly has a hate boner for Spider-Man. J.K. Simmons played that really, really well. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, since we talked about the characters, let's talk about some of the music. Now, first off, I'm gonna say what really sets the tone for when it comes down to music is the opening scene, or the opening credits, which I'm not gonna lie, still today is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like the opening credits, I mean, it's all CG, but where we see some glimpses of Spider-Man in the background, or at least parts of him, as well as like where it seems like we're swinging through the city. I really like that, and it gets, by the way, that gets better with the other films, which I really, really enjoy. Now, let's go on. Now with that, music, good. Some of the actors, all right. Let's talk about the CGI and some of the oh gosh, I'm gonna say, no joke. I'm not. Just again, whole opinion. Some of the CGI does not transition well to current day. It does not. Some of the action and just, oh gosh, it's funny. It really is. Some of the fight scenes, and speaking of CGI, also action. Some of the action scenes are kind of nonsensical. I think the first fight with Green Goblin was off. I kind of felt like there could have been more with that. The second fight, if anything, wish there was a little bit more substance, but I think that was just a quick fight to set up the whole, oh, Norman knows who Peter is thing. I don't know. But the third fight, I will say, was interesting. Well, actually, probably one of my favorites out of this film. As well as the setup for, the sooner or later sequels. So, all in all, this was interesting. I again, because when I was younger, I really liked this film. And bottom line, it's not one of my favorites. It's good to the point where, I mean, when it comes down to it, to how campy and bad it is, it's almost, it's almost enjoyable, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that I had issue with as I've kind of grown older. So, all in all, I think in the bottom line, do I like the movie? Do I hate the movie? I enjoy it. I do feel like there's some flaws, but at the same time, it's so bad it's good. So, anyway, I think that's gonna be my review for Spider-Man, for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys have any thoughts, leave in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below. As well, check out our Discord. We do daily content, at least a lot of the stuff that I do. Uploads between 6 noon and 6. With that being said, also, by the way, check out our podcast on Sundays, 6 p.m. Pacific time. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Peace.